Crossfaith is a metalcore band from Japan that just booted their guitarist for PDF file shit. Happy Monday, how was your weekend? Today we have a update to a story we covered last week. And to be honest, there's updates to pretty much every story we covered last week. So I'll give you those at the end of this video. Those being the Marilyn Manson thing and the Asking Alexandria thing. But for right now, we have to yap about Daiki, who is the ex-guitarist of Crossfaith. Because not only did he get the boot from Crossfaith, but also another one of his projects, which is Nosis. And here's what they had to say. To our fans, Daiki will no longer perform as guitarist of Nosis. And I just realized I should probably give you some context. And no worries, I'll make it quick. All right, just want to catch you up to date. But Crossfaith, like I said, is a metalcore band from Japan, and they went on tour with Falling in Reverse. Now, Ronnie Radke found out guitarist Daiki was being weird with a minor, so he privately told Crossfaith the band, like, hey, this is what happened, and I'm gonna have to give you guys the boot, because they were on tour with Falling in Reverse for like this small European run, and they failed to boot Daiki, and Ronnie Radke decided to take matters in his own hands. So he exposed the band and Daiki on like Instagram or TikTok or something. I don't remember exactly what it was. The band then makes a response. All right, they're like, we're gonna drop all the shows, all the upcoming shows on this Europe trip, and we're on the talks of figuring out what the proper move is. The response was pretty silly because they were saying shit like, we want to make sure people are safe and we're making sure that we take the appropriate steps to do that, when the appropriate step is just boot Daiki out. Like, what the fuck are you talking about? We have the full conversation between Daiki and the minor now, and again, like responses from both of his bands. So let's find out if the context helps or harms Daiki and his whole situation here. Again, this is a statement from Nosis, which is a good band, by the way. They recently did a collab with Moist Critical and Nick Nocturnal. The song was okay, it wasn't too bad, and I think you should definitely check them out if you're into Japanese metalcore. I just think it's ridiculous how Nosis had absolutely no heat on them for any of this, but somehow we're quicker to boot Daiki than Crossfaith was, who had all the heat on them. Holy shit, Crossfaith is brain dead. I don't know what the fuck they're thinking, but a few hours after this statement, Crossfaith made their own, and I'm gonna go ahead and show you this. It is with great regret that we must inform you of the following matter. It was recently confirmed that our guitarist Daiki engaged in inappropriate communication with an underage fan. Recognizing the gravity of this misconduct, we have decided to dismiss him from the band effective immediately. We deeply apologize to the victim, our fans, and all concerned parties for the distress this incident has caused. We take this matter very seriously. Further updates regarding our activities will be announced in due course. Thank you for understanding, Crossfaith. This statement straight up feels like a challenge. Like, how many PR buzzwords can we fit in one statement? The challenge. I'm happy they booted the guy out. I'm just very disappointed on how long it took for them to do it, and more on that in a bit. Especially after reading this, it really comes off as like they really had to make a big decision. Do we boot Daiki or do we keep him around? As I was reading this, I realized I almost forgot to plug my Discord. Link in description. It's filled with people that like cool music and video games. I would love for you to join us. Now, this is kind of wild because the band gives us an entire timeline of events of everything that went down, and including screenshots of the minor's mother, who reached out to Ronnie, that kind of like started the whole thing, a screen recording of Daiki and the minor's conversation, and let's just get into it. So here we have June 18th. Daiki responded to an Instagram DM from a 14-year-old girl on Instagram and continued the conversation. The mother of the 14-year-old girl became aware of the DM and contacted Ronnie Radke, Falling in Reverse, via Instagram DM. The next day, on June 19th, Ronnie sent an Instagram DM to Kenta Koide. At the same time, I hope I said his last name right, Crossfaith was informed that Falling in Reverse would refuse Crossfaith's participation in their upcoming shows and requested immediate action regarding this matter. Later that same day, Koide responded by defending Daiki. The band did not fully recognize the seriousness of Daiki's actions at this stage and did not proceed with immediate dismissal, which screenshots say otherwise later. But anyway, the next day, Crossfaith performed the headline show in Switzerland, then Belgium 2 days later, then 3 days after that, which mind you, this has been 6 days since the whole thing came to light, like privately at least. So June 25th, Ronnie Radke, noting that no action had been taken by Crossfaith, released a video exposing the matter. The video included portions of the DMs between Daiki and a 14-year-old girl, as well as between Kenta Koi and Ronnie Radke. 2 days later, Crossfaith announced the cancellation of remaining 4 shows, in addition to Falling in Reverse shows, and issued a statement that the band was investigating and discussing the allegations internally. Ronnie Radke publicly released the full DM exchange between Daiki and a 14-year-old girl, which we're about to read in a second. Then June 28th, which was the following day, through internal deliberation, the band acknowledged the gravity of Daiki's conduct and made the decision to dismiss him. Then here we have the screenshot of the minor's mom saying, "Hey Ronnie, this was written by a member of the band Crossfaith to my 14-year-old daughter. He's 37 and my daughter is 14. That's a criminal offense." Then here we have a layout, like a map layout of DMs between Ronnie Radke and the vocalist Koi, when Ronnie basically told him like, "Hey man, this is what's going on." Now we already know what's been said here because Ronnie basically showed this the other day, but there are a few messages that wasn't shown, and I'm gonna be honest, it makes the vocalist look even worse because he's hardcore defending Daiki in these. And you can pause the video now if you want to read everything, but I'm gonna be honest, at the end of this video, I'll link you last week's video when we spoke about it. And we can go over it then too, but whatever you want to do. And before reading the DMs, I just want to say the timeline even shows that the band gave us like everything, right? They gave us everything, broke everything down, and it really just showed that they ignored Ronnie and kind of didn't pay him any mind when it came to Ronnie coming to them with this information. They dismissed pretty much everything and just moved forward like nothing happened. They just kept playing shows and even took days off or whatever, and they only did something when Ronnie came out publicly with this, and it sucks because he literally gave them the chance to do something about it privately, and they're like, "Oh, what is this guy talking about, Daiki? Daiki, you fucking with this 14-year-old girl? Don't even worry about it, man. You good, you good." So here is the conversation between the girl and Daiki. Daiki is in purple, the girl is in gray. "The show was great. Thank you. Was it your first time seeing us?" "Yes, yesterday was the first time. Thought the show was great. That makes me so happy. We'll be back next year. I'll be there again next year to hear you live again." "Hell yeah. I'm already looking forward to your show next year." "Hell yeah." It's like the same shit twice. She says fire emojis and he says "you are beautiful" with some heart eyes. Now, keep in mind, he didn't know the age yet, but I feel like it's obvious if someone is young. "Thanks, you're pretty too. I only paid attention to you at your show yesterday." Then some emojis. "I'm very happy about that. Sure, next year I'll be there again. I hope I'll be at the front again so I can see you well." He replies, "Next year, come stand right in front of me," and then does the fucking like hand heart thing. She says, "Yes. When that time comes, I want to see you." She said, "Of course." He said, "Can't wait." "Me too. What's your name?" "Blank." "And yours?" "Blank." Heart face thing. "My name is Daiki." She says, "That's a nice name." He says, "You too. Now I'm in Dortmund." She says, "I wish you had fun." He asks if she's familiar with the area. She says, "Yes." "Is it close to where you live?" "Unfortunately not. It is 4 hours away by car." "That's pretty far. What a shame. If it were closer, I would have asked you to show me around." "I have no idea about the place, so I'll be on a big solo adventure in Dortmund." "Haha, you can do it. If I were nearby, I would have shown you around." "Well, next year, I'll be there again. Do you have any recommendations for places to visit?" "Well, I can only think of blah blah blah. Both places are beautiful. Just wanted to tell you that I'm 14. Would like to be older. Is that a big problem for you because of my age? I understand if it's a problem for you. I'm of course a fan of you and the band and will be there next year." Brother, she gave you an out. She said, "Hey, I'm understanding if this is an issue, but just so you know, I am 14. If you're not okay with that, that's cool, brother." But what this fucking weasel replies is basically the screenshot we saw last time. "You're so young, but very mature. I'm 37 years old, but I don't think it's a problem." She says, "Okay," and he follows up with, "I'm jealous of how young you are." This is nasty. Now, somebody in my comments said on my last video that 13 is the age of consent in Japan or something like that, and somebody gotta check that motherfucker's hard drive. Listen, brother, I don't give a fuck if the age of consent is 15, 16. You're still weird and it's still morally wrong. You know what else is legal in some states of this country? America? Child marriage. Is it okay to do that morally? Are you down to do that, you fucking sicko? Just because something is legal, it doesn't mean it's morally okay. In Texas, if someone steps in your grass, you can shoot them. You can legally shoot them. Does that make it okay? Fuck no. All right, what if homie just needed more space on the sidewalk? He accidentally stepped on your, bam! You're dead. Does that make me a bad guy? Of course it does. Now, all of this is disturbing, and I think what makes it worse is, keep in mind, I read this in a Twitter comment. It could be completely wrong, but somebody mentioned that Daiki has a wife and child back at home. Take it with a grain of salt, okay? I am trusting a Twitter commenter, which look, Twitter comment people typically aren't the best source of news or anything at all, but I'm just saying, if that's the case, this is absolutely evil. The band then closes off the saga with one final statement, which again, you can go ahead and read yourself. Go ahead and pause it if you want to read the whole thing. But the TLDR is, they apologize on Daiki's behalf to the girl and her family, and they're aware because it took so long to do something about this, it may have resulted in loss of trust with their audience, and they're going to hop on a hiatus. They're going to be offering refunds to anyone who copped tickets to their shows that are now canceled, and that's pretty much it. Again, that's a TLDR because I respect your time. And in return, I would like for you to click the join button down below. Feel free to click it, become a member of the channel if you want to see these videos earlier than everyone else. I upload at least 5 times a week. Anyway, this is a sad ending to the Crossfaith shit. And I've said it once, I'll say it again. I think going on hiatus is bad for the band's career, just because when they try to make a return, people are going to be closed off to that idea and they're going to get a lot of shit for it. It's going to reignite the whole controversy versus like kind of moving forward and doing what they've been doing and trying to move past this. They'll probably still get shit for a few weeks, but eventually it's just going to die down. It will still be a rough patch, but I think if they just kind of keep working, the rough patch would be a little bit smoother for them, because whether they take a hiatus or not, they're still going to go through it. Because after this, there's always that second phase, which is just people shitting on you for some time. But then eventually people forget. I was talking to my girl about this recently. Chris Brown, people fucking forgot about him beating the absolute brakes out of fucking Rihanna. Okay, but this motherfucker's recently on Twitter, I've been seeing a lot of Chris Brown giving lap dances to like his fangirls or whatever. Like, people still fuck with him. Not saying I support this band, because I'm gonna be real with you, the band is too loose with shit too serious, okay? It really annoys me how they only made a move once shit came out publicly. And again, Ronnie straight up hit them up and said, yo, I'm telling you this in private because I know you have a family and I don't want to ruin your careers. Do something about this or I will. And he did. He took matters into his own hands, and it effectively ruined their fucking brand. Like, it's pretty bad. Dismissing serious shit is pretty gross. Now, quick updates to some of last week's videos. We're gonna start off with what is this? The Marilyn Manson thing. So Marilyn Manson is banned from playing the Brighton Center. Some local politicians were against Manson playing their city because of recent controversies and allegations. Well, I don't know why I wrote recent on my script. It's not really recent. But there's allegations of Manson being an abuser and weirdo behind closed doors. There's like a whole lawsuit against everything that he actually ended up winning. But you know, I'm gonna double down because I mentioned this last video and people were upset. Yeah, sure, he won the lawsuit, but he literally has a book, a biography that he wrote himself about him doing heinous shit. Just saying. Not to say I agree with the decision of him not playing the venue. I'm just letting you guys know that, yeah, he is low-key a weirdo behind closed doors. Now, when this happened, it was pretty big news, and the venue was just sitting there with their hand on their dick, like not knowing what to do, because they have two paths. Either don't let him play, right, and then get some backlash from the crowd, especially the Manson crowd and blah, 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 or let him play, and he doesn't crack, he doesn't break for, like, the local politicians, but then he burns that bridge with those politicians. So he decided to not let Manson play, which is kind of a bad thing, but also good. Like I said, either way, the venue was put into a position where they lose, okay? So now that they didn't let him play and they're like, yeah, he's not allowed here, I feel like the local politicians might think they have some sort of power, and moving forward, they might feel like they have some sort of say of who can and can't play, and they see that, like, it works, okay? They convince them to not let Manson play, but it's just gonna be lame if this happens again and the venue's like, let's say the venue puts their foot down like, no, we're gonna let them play. It's gonna make things a bit worse, rather than kind of cutting the head off the snake now. But the shitty thing is there are loads of bands and artists that have done questionable things in the past. So it's kind of like, I don't know. People are going to feel annoyed if, let's say, Falling in Reverse comes to town and they get to play this venue, but they didn't let Manson play this venue. People are going to be like, what type of double-sided shit is this? But overall, it does put the venue in a weird position. And I guess the way to combat it is just doing background checks of the band and the artists or whoever's involved and making sure they're not weirdos or have no controversies. But the issue is, most bands have controversies. Closing off this video, we have an update to the Asking Alexandria thing. Basically, Danny Warsnop got called out for sounding like shit in the recent Warped Tour thing, and I lied. Okay, I'm actually not going to cover this in this video because I think this video is getting a little too long, and the whole Asking Alexandria update, I realized, can be an entire video on its own that I'm going to drop tomorrow. I'll drop it tomorrow, and I'm going to go more in detail with it. It is worth giving the detail and attention to this project because it's pretty nutty. For now, like the video, subscribe, and comment below any thoughts you had about today's stories. What do you think about the Manson thing, about the Crossfaith thing? Last Friday, I spoke about pretty much everything, and we broke down like Ronnie Radke's exposed video on Crossfaith. So click right here to watch that for more context and details.